Welcome to the programme. We begin in Afghanistan, where the first civilian flight has just taken off from Kabul's airport since the capital fell to the Taliban last month. These are exclusive pictures of the plane leaving. It's a domestic service bound for the northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif. Its departure follows repairs to the runway and radar with the help of technical teams from Qatar and Turkey. There it goes, taking off now, the first flight. Let's get more on that story from Charles Stratford, who joins us now from Kabul. And of course, Charles, we were hearing for several days that technical teams were trying to get the airport open again. With the airport opens, it means communication, really, not just domestically, but potentially with the rest of the world as well.
That's right, Sohail, but obviously it's important to recognise there's a long way to go yet. We understand that the airport was in a terrible state of disrepair, and as you say, we've seen dozens of members of technical teams from Qatar, we understand Turkey as well, that have been busy over the last few days getting some of the fundamentals in terms of equipment and a radar system, repairing the runway, ready for this, yes, not insignificant moment, that first domestic flight to the northern town of Mazar-e-Sharif. We also know that Qatar sent, or there was an aid flight in from Qatar today, the first in from Qatar. There was one in from the UAE yesterday, but according to the Qatari ambassador, he's very hopeful. The Qatari ambassador who was speaking on the tarmac just before that flight took off, very hopeful that today signifies, yeah, a bit of a watershed. And as you say, communication with the outside world is renewed via that airport. Of course, there's vast amounts of humanitarian aid that needs to come into this country. The UN are estimating that around half the population of Afghanistan needs urgent humanitarian aid. That's around 20 million people. So it's vital that this good work continues and that we see, obviously, those large planes, those C-17s and C-130s that we've seen, that were very much involved in that evacuation effort, bringing in that vital aid in the coming days.
And of course, Charles, in another story that we're keeping a very close eye on is the situation north of the capital in the Panjshir Valley, and conflicting reports about who's actually in control and who's made gains.
That's right. Things got very messy, to put a not too blunt a point on it, last night, where we heard, certainly from unnamed Taliban commanders purportedly in that area, that the Taliban are taking full control of the Panjshir Valley. That was swiftly refuted a couple of hours later by a video that was leaked to local media, we understand, by the former Vice President Amrullah Saleh, who we understand or claims to be inside the Panjshir Valley. He was saying that these claims by the Taliban were, in his words, completely baseless and that resistance would continue. Now, we know that the valley is very easy, or is very well defended, by this opposition group to the Taliban. We also, according to the Taliban, they say that they have fully surrounded the area. The big concern is for what we understand are around 150 to 200,000 civilians that are inside the valley, mainly from the Tajik ethnic minority. We got very close to the entrance yesterday. We spoke to civilians in that area and the Taliban, and this is our report.
Smoke rises over the town of Gul-Bahar, the entrance to the Panjshir Valley in northeast Afghanistan. Neither the Soviets during the 1980s war nor the Taliban have ever managed to control this mountainous region around 100 kilometers north of Kabul. A shell lands nearby. Taliban fighters ready their weapons. Men in this village say they have driven their wives and children to safety. They are angry and scared.
The Americans betrayed us. President Ghani betrayed us too. You left us under the cannons and tanks, and we can't stop either side fighting. How much can they kill their brothers? How much can they kill their fellow Afghans? They have to stop fighting.
The Taliban drive American military vehicles and pickup trucks, taking fighters to and from the front line. Thousands of men like these across Afghanistan have known little else but conflict and war all their lives.
The fighting started 3 days ago. Now we've taken a lot of areas up there, by the antenna. We have no issue with the civilians. We are here to defend their rights. People are staying in their homes.
The National Resistance Front of Afghanistan, or NRF, is believed to be several thousand strong and made up of mainly ethnic Tajik fighters and former Afghan army soldiers. The group is led by this man, Ahmad Massoud. He's British military academy trained and the son of Ahmad Shah Massoud, who fought against the Soviets and the Taliban and was assassinated by Al-Qaeda 2 days before the 9/11 attacks in 2001. Ahmad Massoud is demanding the Taliban form an inclusive government which guarantees the rights of all Afghanistan's ethnic minorities, including ethnic Tajiks, who make up around a quarter of the country's population. The fighting started after 2 weeks of negotiations with the Taliban collapsed.
We have a lot of equipments with ourselves. We will defend from our valley, from our territory until we have one drop of blood in our body. So we will resist until we martyr in here.
Taliban fighters edge up a slope along tracks they say are heavily mined. As we were getting ready to go live, another shell landed close by. The Taliban has blocked phone networks in the valley. There are growing fears about the estimated 150,000 people living inside and many in Taliban-controlled areas around Gulbahar.
The big concern is that Massoud's forces are coming round on the mountain ridges and trying to surround this area in order to isolate Gulbahar.
We left in Gulbahar, but now we are leaving. Today I came from Kabul to collect our belongings. I already took my family out. The fighting is ongoing. There are shells hitting people's homes. Both sides are shelling.
Afghan families flee for their lives in one of the last pockets of resistance to Taliban rule.
Analysts are telling us that they believe that the NRF are seriously well armed. They say that that group, or certainly the Panjshiris, as many people call them, have been stockpiling weapons in the Panjshir Valley for decades. As we heard there, the Panjshiris were never taken control of, or the valley was never controlled by the Soviets nor the Taliban. Speaking to locals yesterday in that area, it was interesting. They were saying that they'd seen a lot of weapons go into the valley in and around the days of, when the Taliban came into Kabul. So they were very much prepared. But also to be remembered is the fact that they are massively outnumbered by the Taliban. So yeah, huge ramifications for the civilian population in and around that area, and also very interesting as well, people that we've been speaking to, we've been obviously speculating as to when this new Taliban government will be formed and announcements on that. Well, many experts saying they don't expect potentially any new government to be announced until the Panjshir fighting is over. Because so they say, they want the Taliban want to be seen as fully inclusive, and of course there is a lot of ethnic Tajiks in that area. So yeah, that conflict 100 or so kilometers north of Kabul has huge ramifications, not only with respect to a humanitarian level and the suffering of thousands of people, but you know, the political future of this country.
And of course we'll continue to monitor what happens there north of the capital with you, Charles Stratford, in Kabul. Thank you.